Alright, maybe a video will help you, so let me try it like this. Okay, so you be in normal space. Normal space is important. You gotta look at these bones in normal space. You can see their orientation. So this is your skirt thingy, the towel, as you called it. And you see, you got the blue arrow pointing who knows what way, like all like that. I don't know why it's like that. This orientation is not right. And even like on your leg bone, this orientation isn't right either. You see how it's slanted out this way? It shouldn't be like that. It should be like this. Like all bones should have uh their local axis is rotatable in like an XYZ formation. You see? Now this one's not right, so see what happens if you rotate it locally. Hold on. There's the Z axis. Yeah, see? That bends out that way. That's not right. That's not what a local rotation should do. So this one where I fixed it, you see, that's Z. This is Y. And this is X. Okay, so I switched to this down here. You see this thing down here? So that's important for this next part. So the first thing you gotta do is you're gonna have to fix the orientation of all these bones. So select the tails only. You know about this already. I think that's all the tails. I'm only gonna do this side for now. And you're gonna want to, let's see, bring them over this way and then up. Okay, so the reason we did this is, okay, we're gonna have to fix the roll too. So the reason we did this is because there's no way to get this rotation right unless you reposition the tails. Okay, so you see what I just did with this one here? I rolled the Z bone, or the Z arrow from here to there. See, I rolled it downward, okay? Because the Z arrow needs to point from the object's center of mass to the tip of the mass. So what I'm trying to say by that is, I'm just going to use this bone to display it. That means it needs to point from here to here, okay? If we were doing this hair bone, you see this one's right. This one's correct. Because you got the blue arrow pointing from the center of mass to its next tip of mass. So that would mean, you know, it rotates from here. For this one, the blue arrow is pointed down because towards the tip of the mass, once it reaches this point in the hair, now it goes downward. It doesn't keep going outward like this. It starts going downward, so the blue arrow points downwards. Now all these are right. You got these right. The blue arrow continues to point downwards toward the center of mass or towards the next bone in the chain as an easier way of visualizing that. Now see this one right here, this is where things you might want to change. So this one, you can see that the tip of the mass starts to go out this way, you know, to the right. So you might want to move the bones like this. So now that the blue arrow is pointing out this way. Okay, so it follows, you know, and even like this right here, you could change to be more like this. So it follows the curve. You see what I mean? The blue arrow is what's important here, okay? So when you fix the blue arrow, and let's just say I fixed it for all of these, right? I know this is the only one that's fixed, but just pretend they're all fixed, okay? You can do that with, let me see if I do this right. I think I showed you this. Armature, bone roll, recalculate, local negative Z? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So I'll go ahead and do those all. That just says, put Z downward on the local axis for all these bonos. I think, okay, that's all of them. So armature, bone roll, recalculate roll, global negative Z axis. Or was it local negative Z. Local negative Z axis. There you go. Okay. So now these are all right. So what's important here by rolling the bone? I don't know why that one didn't roll. Whatever. You get the idea. So I guess a lot. Wait a minute. Am I selecting the wrong ones? Oh yeah, I was just selecting the wrong ones, I guess. Oh no, these ones aren't right. Okay, just ignore my stupidity for a second. I'll just go ahead and fix them all. Okay, but you get the idea. They point downwards from center of mass to tip of mass. Okay, so blue arrow continues to point downward. You might want to do a little bit of cleanup. For here, this part, just like, yeah, just downwards. Okay, so these are all right, or at least we'll say they're right. So what's important here is the blue arrow, like I said, center mass to tip, and now the red and the green arrow. Okay, so the point of the red and the green arrow is to mark the local X and Y axis orientation. But when I say local, I don't mean global. Like, I know this one looks like it's global because it is just front and back, left and right. But by local, what I mean is this mesh, whatever way it's oriented, what would be considered its local X and Y orientation. So we go to rotation manipulator mode, and you see the green is going to be your Y. That's how you want it. And X and red is going to be your X. That's ideal, okay? That's going to match up with what a lot of Source uses and other game engines. You should always try to do it that way. If you can't do it that way, it's okay if you swap X and Y, red and green, as long as they're on the right axes, like as in they're either on the X axis or the Y axis locally. It doesn't matter which color goes to which, as long as you have both of those axes covered, okay? So like for this one, you see here, this bone should be over here. I don't know why. Yeah, you want the heads in the center. Okay, so so for here, you can see the local Y rotation. That's the local Y. And then the local X. That's right, okay. And then the Z rotation, the local Z. In a jigglebone calculation, the local Z, and I'm using this blue circle to rotate that, that will never rotate. That is never going to jiggle, okay? Whenever you're doing jiggle bones, when you put the blue arrow the right way, it's never going to rotate on that axis, which is what you want. Okay, there's a command called allow angle constraint 1 that makes it so, well, it's supposed to make it so the Z rotation is allowed, but it doesn't work. So it straight up does not work. So there's no point in even trying to use that. So just always remember, it's never going to rotate this way, and that's what you want. If you don't have it rotated the right way, let's see. Okay, say the arm was a jiggle bone and you wanted it to jiggle like this, woo, like that, okay? So if you looked at it in local orientation rotation, blah, 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 if you looked at it and you saw that, oh, the blue circle, and you move it like this and it's moving in a way that you want it to jiggle, you know that bone's not right because it. Let me see here. This red one is the twist. This is the one you would want to be blue because you don't want it to jiggle this way. You want it to jiggle up, down, and forward, back. That's what you want. You don't want this twist. That's never going to be your jiggle. So this one's right again. You see, you're never going to get the twist. You're always going to get the back, forward, and left and right. Okay, so that is the goal with these bone orientations. Okay, and you like, okay, so let's change things up. Let me give you a nice example here. Okay, so let's take this hair. Let's take this hair and say that the resting position was jutted out. Oh, damn it. The resting position was jutted. God damn it. Jutting out this way. Okay. And we're going to put that right there. Say this looks nice. I know it doesn't. And okay, so you see how it kind of curves now. All right. It curves out this way. So we're going to take this bone, right? And we're going to change this up. So blue arrow is pointing down like it used to. Like this is technically right. Okay, if you just left it the way this is, remember, jiggle bones are going to roll on the local axis. So it's going to still roll forward, back, left, and right. But it's not going to be exactly what you want because this is basically you're saying here, okay, well, I got it right, but it's going to rotate basically global. So you got this thing curved a little bit now. So you were going to take the tailbone, move it down here. Now, fix the roll. See how now it's pointing out towards the tip of the mass, the blue arrow there. So now, when you look at it, this is what I mean by local rotation. This now has a correct local X and Y. Okay? Before, it was just operating off global X and Y. See, now it has a correct local. Okay? So when you rotate it in with the manipulator tool in local space, you can see relative to its orientation on the model, the X and Y axis gives you the right rotation result, okay? And remember, as long as Z is pointing down, the twist is never going to get included in the jiggle, Okay, and that's the goal. So like, look at the chain. You see this goes down, continues to down. We'd want this one to curve a little bit because it starts going out towards the next one. Okay, so, and then this one curves towards the end of the tip of the hair. So you can see the pattern here. Down, actually see, you can see these ones you would want to pull up like that. Okay, so down, down, and then, let's see, this one, this starts to curve, so like that, and there we go. Pull that up. Okay, so yeah, so now that's right. So you always want to take into account the orientation of the object that you're trying to jiggle here, okay? You can't just use a global XYZ for everything, or else it's not going to work, because jiggles work in local space. All right, so that's why it probably seems like sometimes I tell you to do one thing and like rotate the bone a certain way, and then another time I tell you to rotate it a totally different way. It's because it's based on the orientation. Like for this one is totally correct. That one's right. This bow here, this bow tie, it points outward that way, so you got your Z arrow in the right spot. And this one is mostly right, and just probably do more like that. And then you can see, only thing you'd really change here is maybe just move that just a little bit that way, a little bit this way. Okay, so now this has a pretty decent local XYZ orientation. So if you go to rotation manipulator, you got your Y front and back, and X left and right. Now if you pull X backward, you can't really see it here, but it goes a little bit diagonally. That's correct. You see how it doesn't go totally out this way, it comes diagonally a little bit. That's correct. This is its local orientation. Okay? The reason you always use local is because when a model is rigged, the rigging on the model is always set so it assumes that it's going to rotate locally. So if you try to do a global rotation on this as your jiggle, it'll work generally, but that's not what the model was originally told before its rigging. Like, the rigging was assumed it always to be rotating locally. So you want your jiggles to also be told to rotate locally to take into account the way that the mesh was rigged. Okay? So if you still don't understand, I guess just replay this video, watch it over and over again. Eventually it should make sense, and hopefully you already understood it within the first 5 minutes, and I'm just rambling for no reason. Okay, I hope this helps you.